Hey, be careful with that. They say it can puncture the skin of a rhino from 100. Ow! Oh! Yes! That's awesome! You just took one in the jugular, man!
What's up, guys? Spenny. There's a lot of panic right now and anxiety in the Democrat Party because they see that there is a massive train barreling down the tracks toward them and they have no way of stopping it. No amount of cheating or rigging, lying, or lawsuits will stop what's coming. The 2030 apportionment forecast, hopefully, prayerfully to be done during a President J.D. Vance, but either way, is going to be an absolute bloodbath for Democrats in the Electoral College. Now, they've already lost the Electoral College in a very severe way, losing 7 swing states in the 2024 election. Donald Trump romping with a landslide victory plus the popular vote, but it's going to get worse. See, when the census is redone, especially if the census is done and it doesn't count criminal aliens, we'll get to that in a second, what it's going to mean is that red states, which had great policies during COVID, a lot of pro-business policies, a lot of smart family creation policies, and a lot of great magnets unto them like Texas and Florida, other red states here like Idaho and Arizona and Utah are going to bring people in. Blue states that have been laboratories of communism and are failed states by every measure are going to lose people. And so that's going to create a crisis for Democrats. You can see here that Florida is planning on adding 4 seats for Texas. Goodness great. Where are they going to make up those 8 seats in the Electoral College? But then it gets even worse. Illinois is going to lose seats. This is a dark blue state. Pennsylvania may lose a seat. That's one way or the other. New York is, of course, a dark blue state. That's going to lose 2 seats. Rhode Island's going to lose seats. So is Oregon and California. Goodness gracious. You are looking at a proper nightmare for Democrats. How are they going to make these up? What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to win Wisconsin? Well, that state, which is already a swing state, that state's already lost another electoral vote. You are looking at a really, really bad map. Democrats know it, and they are totally panicking. Trump is already ordering a new census, saying that illegal criminal aliens must not be counted in our census. It's insane that that happened. And what it did was it gave undue power to Democrats in order to rig the Electoral College. And they have been doing this. They have been cheating, rigging, lying, and suing in order to try and claim that the country is 50-50. But the country is more like 30-70 if the votes were counted correctly and if the elections were done honestly. That is why people are pushing now for Indiana in order to redistrict and to get rid of a blue seat in a dark red state. I mean, Trump won Indiana by 30 points. Why is there a blue district there at all? The red state of Indiana is about to call a special session in the legislature to draw a new Republican-friendly congressional map for 2026 midterms. Oh boy, Mike Braun is about to make it happen. We've sent 60,000 unique emails to Indiana state senators. I completely agree with Scott. There's accountability to help President Trump saving the agenda of America first. Indiana will be redistricting. To say I'm thrilled is an understatement. After 5 months of work, it's incredibly rewarding to see it finally pay off. Indiana, ladies and gentlemen, voted 20 points for America first. And Indiana can redraw a strong 9 Republican, 0 Democrat. And it's Indiana, for heaven's sakes. Are there even Democrat towns in Indiana? Indianapolis, I guess, but really? Indianapolis? There you go, Indiana Republicans weighing a new map. Current map has 2 Democrats. 2 Democrats in Indiana? Crazy. I didn't actually know that. It's my job to know that. But it's just like sleepy old Indiana. Thank you, Indiana. Democrats will kick and scream, but guess what? They already did this to all of their states, and they have nothing left. The governor of Indiana saying that he's still working on a timeline and that they're going to be doing it. And here we go, Indiana. Supreme Court also ending the Voter Rights Act Rule 2. that allows for Democrats to illegally gerrymander based on racial lines to give themselves special districts all throughout the South. Look at this. These are all lines that are drawn based on race. What an insane thing to say in 2025. Obviously, this is a relic of time gone by and more of an antebellum or Jim Crow South, but that hasn't existed for decades, generations, millennia. And quite frankly, drawing congressional lines based on race should be patently illegal. That's like top-down mandated racism from the federal government. That's silly. These are red states where Trump won by 40 points. Why should they be forced to have Democrat voters? Democrat districts. It's insane. And the Supreme Court heard these arguments and they destroyed them. So another very, very bad sign for Democrats. Ketanji Brown Jackson says that black voters are disabled. We are responding to current day manifestations of the past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities. They don't have access to the voting system. They're disabled. Ketanji Brown Jackson calling black voters disabled? Okay. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. She doesn't know what a woman is, so who knows? Speaking of a hysterical woman, the libs on CNN are losing their minds. Full meltdown after CNN drops bombshell that the Democrats have hit the absolute limit on gerrymandering tricks, and they're still trailing badly in the polls. The Democrat Party has collapsed. You're going to enjoy this. Here we go.
2018, right? Because that's sort of the baseline. That was, of course, the first Trump term. That was where Democrats were sort of keeping pace. You go back to April, look at the generic congressional ballot. What you see? You see +3 Democrats in 2025 in April. You see +3 Democrats back in April of 2017. Now jump over to this side of the screen. What happens? Well, the Democrats are no longer keeping pace with the pace that they were setting back in 2017, 2018. You look back in 2017, you saw that the Democrats had leaped up to an 8-point advantage. I remember covering this. I remember a lot of folks, including myself, saying, you know what, Republicans look pretty decent right now in terms of the fact that they had the House, they had the Senate, they had the presidency, but things were likely going to flip. And I was looking for the same signs this year. The bottom line is it hasn't happened, Kate Baldwin. It hasn't happened. Democrats have stayed basically steady. They have fallen off the pace. Democrats were way out ahead back in 2017 on the generic congressional ballot. And now we're basically looking at Democrats ahead. But again, they are so far in back of the pace that they set back there. And so I think what a lot of folks are seeing, folks like myself, are saying, wait a minute, given what we might be seeing in redistricting, is this +3 going to be enough, Kate Baldwin?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. One change from that cycle is also this mid-decade redistricting effort that we've been covering so much. You add that in, and what do you get?
Okay, so we add that, and we take a look at the national picture, but then we, of course, taking a look at the state legislators, right? They are potentially changing things, and there are two things that are going on here. First off, net mid-decade redistricting gains. If both sides max out at this point, there are more Republican gains possible than Democratic gains. Yes, the Democrats might try to counter a Texas and a California, but you go along in the different states, and basically Democrats run out of room where Republicans are able to gain and gain and gain. If both sides max out, we're probably looking at a GOP gain of +7 House seats. That doesn't even take into account the potential gutting of the VRA that is right now going to be in front of the Supreme Court. If you add that in, you could be looking... The
Voting Rights Act.
What? Yes, exactly right. The Voting Rights Act. If you add that in, then you could be looking about adding 10, 12, 15, 17 on top of this 7 seats. So I think a lot of folks like myself are looking at this. We're seeing, hey, wait a minute. Those national polls are... Democrats are not gaining the way that we expected.
I love that guy. His name's Harry Enton. He's my favorite. He's the only guy on CNN that I actually like when I see a clip of his. He's just so honest, and he's just good. He's just an excellent data reporter, quite frankly. And he's saying that Democrats, if you go along in the states, Democrats run out of room. Republicans are able to gain 7 House seats. That does not even take into account the potential gutting of the Voter Rights Act in the Supreme Court. If both sides max out redistricting, there are more Republican gains possible. Democrats are no longer keeping pace. Democrats need an 8-point advantage, and they're not getting it. The betting markets are now showing that the Democrats are likely to lose the House. Democrats could lose 19 potential seats. So this could actually be a massive, massive blowout for the Democrats. Like Charlie said, ladies and gentlemen, goodness gracious, when was this? August 7th, 1 month before he was killed. President Trump is playing to win. This is the new mentality. Smash mouth politics. Democrats, they don't hate gerrymandering. They hate losing. We are going to play offense. We are finally going to give it back in the driver's seat. Wise words.
I completely agree. And this is smash mouth politics. You see, Democrats, they don't hate gerrymandering. They hate losing. And they're very afraid that finally the Republican Party led by President Donald Trump is one that is playing to win. We witnessed Donald Trump have to face 700 years in federal prison. They were playing for keeps during the last presidential election. And now we won that election with great records and great margins. And now we're just trying to redistrict a singular state to be more representative of the Hispanic population in that single state. And they're talking about adding stars to the flag and adding Puerto Rico. Well, guess what? Two can play at this game. President Donald Trump announcing the new census. What that would do is that would also potentially subtract 20 electoral votes from Democrats in the electoral college system, as congressional seat appropriation is directly correlated with electoral college totals. Deeper than this, though, this is a new mentality. This is not a Republican Party that is just playing for neutrality or trying to protect broken norms. Instead, we are playing to win. We know we are up against a vicious opposition, one that might play a good game on television every so often or saying that they're working for the American people, but deep down, we know what they are. We know what they represent, and President Donald Trump and this movement, and you see it across the country with the resolute attitude in Texas, is that we are now going to fight fire with fire, we're going to play offense, and we're finally going to be back in the director and the driver's seat to save this country.